One of the most common questions shippers ask TLI is, what is the difference between cargo liability and contingent cargo liability? Naturally, the names being so similar is a cause of confusion, but also shippers want to ensure that their precious cargo is protected while it's in transit. If you're routing freight that took months of preparation going through your production line, perhaps it is some type of raw material that's inbound, that's very challenging or has a long lead time to get a hold of, you want to ensure that that freight is protected and completely covered. And that's where cargo liability comes into play. When a shipment is routed in transit due to the Carmack Amendment, the freight broker or the 3PL isn't the one that's actually liable for the damage, it's the motor carrier. And so, if you route a freight through Translogistics, we want to be sure that we maximize the value with the motor carrier so that if your shipment is lost or damaged, we can file that freight claim against that motor carrier, get 100% of that settlement, then returned over to you as the shipper so that you're recouped and reimbursed then for that damage or lost shipment. Contingent cargo liability is different. Namely, contingent cargo liability is for extreme outlier events that the 3PL or freight broker gets in the event that a carrier has something fall through. For example, let's say that there's a freight claim that's filed with a freight carrier, but they go bankrupt in the proceedings of the freight claim. That's where contingent could, for example, supersede that gap. Not all commodities are covered by contingent cargo liability. And it's also worth clarifying, one of the best factors that Translogistics brings to the table for shippers is within ViewPoint TMS, they can add additional cargo liability on the fly. So, for example, let's say that you're routing a dedicated truckload and it's worth $300,000 of cargo liability. Instead of just calling it at the max of the carrier's liability, which would be $100,000, you could purchase the additional $200,000 of cargo liability in ViewPoint TMS right on the fly as you're generating the bill of lading, so your shipment has the complete $300,000 of cargo liability. For LTL shipments, it's a little bit more challenging because every tariff is unique to that carrier. However, the logic in ViewPoint is where you will max the carrier's default cargo liability, and then you can purchase the additional liability on the fly for any shipment.